Hello everyone, welcome back to another Genshin Impact video. My name is ArkRevner and I like to play games, and today we're going to be talking about Ganyu's new banner, Adrift in the Harbor, and whether or not I think it will be worth summoning on. So, Ganyu's banner is right around the corner, or depending on when you're watching this, it might already be live. I know that a lot of people are on the fence about this banner and whether it's worth it or not, so I wanted to quickly give you guys my initial thoughts on this banner and the characters on Rate Up so that you can make an informed decision on whether you think it'll be a good way to spend your primos. Firstly, I just want to say that every banner is situational, and at the end of the day, only you will know what's best for you and your account. But sometimes it's nice to hear what other people are thinking before committing and using your resources. I personally will be summoning for Ganyu because I'm actually really excited for her. Funnily enough, she's actually launching on my birthday, January 12th, so I thought it might be fun to summon for her with you guys to celebrate. I've already gathered all the resources to level her all the way up to level 80 once I get her, and I plan on actually doing a live summoning session here on YouTube. So if you're free that night when she launches, feel free to join me so that we can pull for her and test her out live. So make sure to subscribe if you want to catch that. Okay, before you go ahead and summon for Ganyu, you should consider 5 things first. 1. Do you like using bow users and charged attacks? If the answer is no, this is an automatic skip. Ganyu will be getting the majority of her damage from her charged shots, so if this doesn't fit your playstyle, I think that saving your gems for a unit that better suits your playstyle and needs is a much better idea. Landing her aim shots is going to take a certain skill level that other characters in the game don't need in order to be a good DPS, so it's something to keep in mind. Like with all banners, I definitely recommend testing her out during her trial run to see if you like her playstyle before you decide to summon. 2. Are you looking for a DPS support or a main DPS? And are you planning on getting her Constellations? Ganyu is really designed in a way that she can be played as a support or a DPS. However, it's really important to realize that she's much better suited for a DPS support at C0. And that it actually becomes much easier to use her as a main carry the more constellations you get. This isn't feasible for most players, so it's really important to keep that in mind and consider before summoning for this character. In fact, I would actually say that Ganyu's pretty similar to Child in the fact that she will be good at C0, but her C6 will actually change completely how she's played and how good of a DPS she will end up being. Due to this, I think it's actually going to be very important for us to all temper our expectations of how much damage she will be dealing at C0. However, in my honest opinion, whether she's C0 or C6, I do think that she is going to be a good and valuable character, which is why I'm summoning for her. She ties with Diluc for the highest base attack in the game, and when she launches, she will probably take the title of the strongest cryo user in the game, at least for the time being. But I know the difference between a DPS support and a main damage dealer can be a very big deciding factor for most players, so I just wanted to put that out there. 3. Do you have teammates that will synergize well with her so that you can maximize her potential? Ganyu really seems to want to either be on a freeze or melt comp, or some combination of the two. If you don't have units that could back her up, or for her to support, it might actually be a little bit hard to utilize her properly. Luckily, the banner actually does have 2 units that will pair very well with her, Xingqiu and Xiangling. Xingqiu will consistently freeze your enemies, while Xiangling will allow you to proc melt, so both of these units will actually pair very well with Ganyu. I actually also think that Ganyu will have amazing synergy with Klee and Diluc. She might end up being their best cryo applier for high DPS melt comps. So if you do have Klee or Diluc, Ganyu might actually be a great unit to have on your team. 4. Are you actually more excited for Xiao, Hu Tao, Ayaka, or Ganyu? If you're really excited about Xiao, Hu Tao, or Ayaka, but are only a little bit interested in Ganyu, it's probably best to skip. I personally think it's far more important to pull for who you like and who you think you will enjoy playing regularly. Resources in this game are really scarce, especially for free-to-play players, so it's best not to summon on every single banner if there's a particular unit that you want in the future. On the flip side, if you're really excited for Ganyu and less interested in the other characters, you should go ahead and summon for her. Since she's limited, we have no idea when she's going to be back, so you might want to snag her now if she's one of your favorite units. 5. Are you interested in or will you use the rate up 4 stars? This is probably the most important question for free-to-play players. It's next to impossible to guarantee a 5-star unless you've been saving up for a while or are already very close to pity. It's much more likely for you to pick up the rate up 4 stars or Constellations for them, so it's really important to recognize if you want to invest in them. Honestly, the only 4-star unit I think is 100% worth summoning for is Xingqiu. He's so versatile and will really add to any team that you put him on as a sub DPS. Plus, his Constellations really do end up adding a lot to his DPS and supporting capabilities. I would say that his most valuable Constellation is probably C2, since it elongates his burst and reduces enemies' resistance to Hydro. You can actually find out more about that in my video about him and Child if you're interested. I'll make sure to leave a card above and a link in the description below for those that are interested in checking that out. Alright, and let's talk about Xiangling for a little bit. She's actually a really good unit. She can be used as either a support or a main DPS. But most people already have a copy of her since most players have already beaten floor 3, chamber 3, and you get a free copy of her that way. Also, her Constellations are good, but they're not really game-changing. They will add to her overall DPS as a main DPS or a support, but you really don't need them for her to be a good unit. So in my opinion, I don't think that it's worth summoning just for her Constellations, unless if she is your favorite unit and you want her to be at her max potential. Alright, and lastly we have Noelle. Noelle's actually pretty interesting. I really slept on her. I didn't think that she was a very good unit, but because I'm starting to build an all Geo comp, I decided to start building her and have actually grown to love her a lot. However, I have to warn you, she is extremely stunted as a unit until she gets more Constellations. In fact, she's one of the units in the game that it feels as though she doesn't really have her full kit until you start getting more of her Constellations. She's okay without Constellations, but she really only starts to shine as a very viable and good unit once she reaches C6. And honestly, that's a really huge investment, especially for free-to-play players. So I think that you should only do it if you really love her as a character. Luckily, everyone does get a guaranteed copy of her due to the beginner's wish, so that does give you a head start. And honestly, if you are going for a C6, this might actually be the best time to do so. I currently do have Noelle at C6 because I've summoned on past banners, and she's actually doing pretty well. I really like her as a unit now. She's a little bit tricky to build, but overall, as you can see in the video that you're watching right now, she's actually my main carry on this team, since all of them are under level 60, and I'm fighting a level 90 domain. But since Noelle is such a tanky character, and her damage scaling starts really going through the roof once you get C6 and building her defense, she becomes a really viable character and can keep your whole team alive. So although I didn't understand it before, I'm starting to understand why people love her so much. Okay, and that's all that I have regarding this banner, at least for now. My thoughts might change once I actually do end up summoning for Ganyu, but we'll see when the time comes. If you found this video helpful at all, please feel free to leave me a like and a comment down below. It would really help my channel grow and I'd really appreciate it. We're actually really close to 300 subscribers, so thank you guys so much for all the support. Also, if you're new here, consider subscribing if you want to see more Genshin Impact content, or if you want to see me build Ganyu. Alright, that's all for now guys. Until next time, see you soon, best wishes, bye.